Thank you so much.
Lena, I will ask Lena to please take control of the session, share the presentation, and we're looking forward to hearing.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tiago. I'm going to share you my presentation, just a second. Okay. So I hope you're able to see it already. Perfect.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for inviting me today to talk about health education projects. I will mainly focus on the development and also the communication side of health education projects, because I thought this would be hopefully interesting for you, because I think it's quite similar of what you're doing in this program, and hopefully many of the stages can be kind of similar, or you can maybe take some ideas from there. So just to start and give you an idea of who is talking to you today. My name is Lena Kurtz. I'm an education scientist from my background. I've worked 12 years so far in health education and communication. I started working for the local university in Munich, Germany, where I was coordinating an international master program in the field of occupational safety and health, very much focused on the Latin American target group. And since 2019, I'm working as a program manager at the Fraunhofer Academy. For those of you who don't know Fraunhofer, it's the largest research organization of applied research in Europe. And we from the Fraunhofer Academy are supporting the different scientists in setting up learning program based on their research findings. And I'm also working as a freelance trainer and coach. Yeah, but I would also like to get to know a little bit of your experience. And for that, I would like to ask you to use the annotate function in Zoom. I don't know if you've used that before. I guess you have. So if not, just go to the top of your screen with the mouse, and then a little bar should show up. And there you find the annotate function and comments. And there you will find little symbols which you can place on the screen. And you see a question here, which would be, how would you rate your experience in health education projects? Maybe you have participated yourself in any health education project. So from little to high, from 1 to 10, you can place your experience here, just putting a little dot or an arrow there. So if you go with your mouse to the top of the screen, then a little bar should show up, and there you should find the annotate function or comment function.
I tried, but unfortunately I didn't find it.
Okay, if you
so should we move our mouse to the top and it will appear?
Yeah, usually if you go to the top or to the lower part, you find a little bar.
If I may, there's a little bar that says you are viewing Lena's screen, and on the side you have view options.
Yes, view options, and should I change
and then you have annotate.
Annotate. Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Excuse me, may I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
This question is like, what do you mean by my experience in a health education project? Does it mean like I participate in a program which is aimed to educate others, or is it a program that is designed to educate myself?
Yeah, it's rather the first one. So if you were involved in a program that educates others, good question.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, otherwise, if you can't find the annotate function, don't worry, you can also write it in the chat, just a number from 1 to 10. So I can already see that there's quite a lot of experience. So many people rate themselves from 7 to 9, some people a little bit lower. This is great. So you already have a lot of experience in that field. So please feel free also to add any comments to my presentations, or yeah, of course, any questions during the time you might have. Okay, great. And I have a second question for you. That would be, what would be the main challenges in health education projects from your point of view? So it doesn't matter if you have had experiences so far in health education projects, but if you think about what could be main challenges we could see in health education projects, and you can, yeah, again, either type just on the screen or just put any comment in the chat. So we see here misleading information, yeah. Information from various channels, yeah, as well. Already good answers. Let's see if there is more. Dealing with anti-science movements, yeah, that's also a very important aspect. Literacy level of the target population, definitely. Yeah, so you already found a lot of yeah, important aspects here, and we will see which one follows here. Okay, so I'm going to remove all your comments. Yeah, and I'm going to start with yeah, going more into the topic. So when we think about the development of health education projects, we often also follow agile principles and methodologies, as you do, of course, in the program you're now. So I just did a screenshot here of yeah, your homepage. And we pretty much, when we set up new programs, follow a similar structure, and I want to share them now with you. The program I'm going to talk about today is a training program for healthcare professionals called Transformative Digital Skills for Healthcare. And what we did here is that we developed a program with the objective to enable healthcare professionals to lead projects in yeah, in the digital healthcare area and apply digital technologies in the health and care sectors. So this is a project which was developed by 3 main partners: the Oxford University Hospitals, the University of Barcelona, and we from Fraunhofer. And I would like to take you a little bit on the journey yeah, we've been taking during the last year, because we really had just 1 year to set up this program. So, okay, let me just close this. Oh, I'm sorry. Again. Good. Yeah, so how was our journey? Which steps did we really take? So first of all, we had an inspiration phase as well, where we gathered facts, we did observations, and we did a very broad needs analysis. And I'm going to talk about those steps more into detail a little bit later. Then we had an ideation phase, where we came up with ideas about content, learning approach, methodologies for our program. Then we had time really to do prototyping and testing. So we set up a prototype of our course and tested it. And then we started communicating the course. And this was, of course, for us really important and kind of a market test as well, because we wanted to see, okay, how is the feedback of possible participants on pilot trainings, and is there really a need, but also a demand? Because need might be one thing, but if you can't move need into a demand, so really people later enrolling for the course, then it becomes difficult. So therefore, this was really an important market test as well. And then in the last step, and this was end of last year, we started our pilot courses, and of course we implemented feedback. So as you can see, there's a lot of similarities to what you might already know from the design thinking process. And we had a lot of Scrum elements as well, like weekly meeting with our international partners. We are a large group of 35 participants or 35 experts in the team. And also, of course, a lot of iterations which we had in the different phases. Yeah, so let's have a look into our first step into the inspiration phase. So what we thought was our initial problem is that healthcare is ranking last regarding digital adoption by sector. So you can see that here on the right screen, that if you have a look at the different sectors, the healthcare sector is really far behind regarding digital adoption. So implementing digital technologies into their work and upskilling in this area. And this has been really constant for several years, and especially in the light of the global pandemic, that is a really urgent call for action. And health organizations often really remain largely unaware and unprepared how large the need is for large upskilling of their workforce. So this was our initial information where everything started. And then, of course, we started thinking, okay, who do we try to help and how can we solve really this problem? So our target group, we decided to focus on were clinicians, hospital managers, and other healthcare professionals. But of course, this was just the first idea, and we wanted really to see if there is a need among this target group and how this need would look like, or if this is just on one in our heads or in one study found. So what we do next to really understand the problems and the need in our target group is not only to gather facts and also practical observations from the work of clinicians, but we did a quite large needs assessment. So we did an online survey. We did a lot of focus groups where we brought clinicians, especially healthcare professionals, together to talk about different topics. And we did a lot of single interviews. And of course, I could just present 1 hour of findings here today, but I want to just very much in a nutshell tell you what we found out. So of course, it was about the relevant content, and some content, we had to delete, which we already maybe had in mind. Especially we found out, which might not be very surprising, but it was very important to us that especially the clinicians have very little time to engage in a learning program. So we really need to have condensed information, really short sessions. And of course, we found also out about learning design, tutoring, methodology, and also communication aspects. So maybe how to name certain aspects. So in order to make them understandable for the target group. And of course, we wanted also to see what their needs really are. And we found a lot about the needs, and especially, again, here in a nutshell, what they told us they would like to have is, on the one hand, transferable skills. So these are skills that can be transferred from one project to the other, but also technical knowledge that enables them to deliver an enhanced patient experience and also clinical outcomes. So this was their overall goal, to improve the patient experience and the clinical outcome. Yeah, so based on that information from the ideation, from the inspiration phase, we started our ideation phase, and we started thinking about, okay, how can our learning solution look like? Of course, we know that we can't change the whole problem with this learning program because it's a learning solution, but it should be part of the solution. And after a very iterative process with group workshops, discussions in our large team, we came up with a lot of ideas in terms of content, structure, learning approach, and methodology, of course, always based on the first step. And this is how our final program then looked like. So we decided on having 8 different modules, 2 focusing on transversal skills, and 5 focusing on technology topics like smart devices, computer security, UX design, and these kind of things, and 1 on a management topic. And we decided on a blended learning structure at the beginning, so a mixture of online and face-to-face courses. And yeah, this was February, beginning of March, and this was of course before the Corona crisis. And spoiler alert, we had to change this idea, because of course it was not possible for us to have really a blended learning structure, to have face-to-face courses. So we had to be flexible here and to change it completely into online. Yeah, so this is how our initial structure looked like. And then, of course, we started with the development. So we started building prototypes and also testing them. So this again was a very agile process. We had a lot of sprints here in the different teams. And from the initial idea of those 8 modules, we started building up learning canvases, which is kind of a sketch for the different modules, where our module heads had to define learning objectives, the content, the methodology, and so far. And from there, we started building the first prototypes of the courses. So the first structure of the courses, putting them into our online learning platform until we reached our MVP, so our minimal viable product. And we said here, okay, we want to come to an 80% solution. It doesn't need to be perfect for the prototyping, but it needs to be an 80% to go on the market. And as I mentioned before, we just had 1 year really for the whole development process and the pilot courses. So it needed to be very, very fast. That's why we also decided on that 8%. And together with our colleagues from the Oxford University hospitals, we developed broad use cases. So it was really a co-creation process. We developed interactive videos, interviews with clinicians, which you can see in the lower part. And we had to set up also a learning platform from scratch. And of course, at a very early stage, we wanted to test if it goes into the right direction. So we did not only have expert feedback on the different modules, but also we integrated lead users to see if the program is really relevant for them, if the content and methodologies are fit. Yeah, so this was a larger process, the prototyping and testing. And yeah, at the end of this time, we already started with communicating our program. And maybe I can ask a question to you. So if you from what you know now about the program, what would be your first ideas about communication channels? Maybe you have any idea, you can just speak up or write in the chat.
That's an excellent question. So class, please engage with Lena.
So which channels would you use to communicate and do marketing for the program? Just first ideas, not about right or wrong, but maybe exactly. I'm getting also new ideas. So you can also just write in the chat. In case of pandemic, during pandemic, social media, great. Any other ideas? Hospital web pages, right? LinkedIn, medical conferences, Facebook. Okay, great, so this is, all of this is true. And let me just show you an overlook of what we did. So we did on the first-hand public relations, so press releases. We did a lot of digital campaigning. So we designed a program trailer, flyers, we did Google Ads, newsletters, emailings, and so on. But we also did a lot of community and networking. So we reached out to our networks and asked them to spread the information. We worked with a multi-channel website strategy. So each of the main partners set up their websites. And what was really interesting really is that from the market research from the beginning, if you remember from the first step, so when we did the needs analysis, of course, we got a lot of contact to clinicians, to healthcare professionals, and we contacted them again. And this was very valuable for us. So from the interviews and surveys, we asked them to leave their email address if they wanted to, and then we could get in contact with them again. Yeah, and unfortunately, I can't show you all this material now. We don't have so much time, but maybe if we still have time, I can show you just a short program trailer to give you an idea. So let me just change. Okay. So I hope you can hear it. Otherwise, please let me know.
Digital innovations are revolutionizing healthcare. More than ever before, healthcare professionals need to be able to adapt and engage with new technologies. Gain the right skills to drive digital innovations in the hospital. Use modern technologies to make a true impact in patient care. We have designed an interdisciplinary training program to meet the digital needs of clinicians, hospital managers, and other healthcare professionals. Learn with the best from Oxford University Hospitals, Fraunhofer Research Institutes, and the University of Barcelona. Upskill now and get ready for the future. Sign up for EIT Health, transformative digital skills for healthcare.
Okay, so this was just a very short insight into our program trailer to get an idea on also how we did the communication marketing process. Just very shortly, I wanted to show you the results. So our initial idea was just to target the European market. And without even trying, we reached 20% of international participants are outside of Europe and 80% of European participants, which was quite good and unexpected for us. So this showed us really that also the information we've provided spread broadly and larger than we thought at the beginning. So after having done our communication process, we really started with the pilot courses, and this was in October last year. So we did run all of the 8 modules. In total, it was 15 courses, so most of them were running twice. All of them were fully booked with a waiting list for next year already. In total, I think we had around 350 participants in all the courses. And of course, what we wanted to gain from these pilot courses is mainly feedback of the participants. So we wanted to see really everything that went wrong from content side, but also this can be from organizational perspectives, or this can be from tutoring as well, from our learning platform. And of course, there's a lot of learning at the beginning. So we included also a participant survey in all of the modules, and we had some expert reviews and lessons learned workshops with the whole team. So from there, we really try to get all the information from the different perspectives on things that need to be improved for next year. And from there, at the moment, we are developing now a gold standard for all courses. So really all of the courses need to follow this gold standard if they want to go live this year. So our idea is to work the first 3 months on improving the courses and then launch the official program in April 2021. Yeah, and coming back a little bit to the main challenges, and with this I'm closing then also my presentation. I asked you at the beginning, what do you think are main challenges of a international health education project? And from our side, what was really the biggest challenge is that we have to target a highly busy target group. So especially the clinicians who are working in shifts do not have a lot of time to participate in such a program. So we really need to make it flexible, and we really need to adapt to their schedules. And also the project management of a huge international team, which couldn't see each other due to the pandemic and had to work completely online, was a little bit different than we expected. And it was quite a huge challenge at the beginning. But now I can say after 9 months of pandemic or even longer, that it works quite well. You have to find your workarounds. And again, here digital technologies are really the key, but also you need a strong collaboration in the team. So these were our main challenges at the beginning, and let's see what challenges come up during this year. Yeah, I'm happy to take any questions you have now, so please feel free to ask either personally or in the chat. You can just write them.
I would just want to say thank you, Lena, for bringing this project and for making the effort to adapt the structure to the structure of this program. I think the students can agree that it's completely aligned with what we've been discussing these last weeks. Even the terminology used is very much what you've been hearing these 4 weeks, and also what you've been hearing from other guests on the previous weeks. So as you can see, we're not teaching you we're not giving you information and tools that are just meaningful for us at University of Porto. This is a wider phenomenon. So please take into consideration that when we tell you to trust the process, it's not only our process, it is the process that most innovators apply nowadays. So if you don't have any specific question right now, I will ask you to think about those questions so we can move on to Maxime, and then we can have a round table where we can all interact. But I'll give you a moment.
I have one question.
Yes, go for it.
Lena, hi, thank you for your presentation. You told us that at the beginning, this course that you were doing, it was to be presential, and now it's online. Do you think that this pandemic changed how Fraunhofer is seeing the way that they are going to produce new courses? They are going to do more online courses starting now?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good question. Absolutely, this has changed a lot. So our initial idea was to do it blended learning, which is a mixture of face-to-face and online, and we had to switch completely to online. And this not only happens in this program, but in a lot of programs. So what I've been doing a lot in the last 9 months is train different scientists to switch their face-to-face courses into online courses, use the different technologies, different tools to make it also vivid and interactive. So Fraunhofer's perspective has changed a lot on that and is still changing.
And in a practical And in a practical perspective, do you think it's cheaper to organize a course like this online? Maybe the first edition is more expensive, but then the second and third would be cheaper. I don't know. What's your opinion about it?
Yeah, so of course you save a lot of costs on especially traveling. Also costs for staying in a room or being many hours away because of traveling for the work. So this is a huge cost saver. On the other hand, as you said at the beginning, it might not be really a huge difference because you need to invest in the learning platform. and especially in a lot of technology aspects. So for example, the videos we were making were quite expensive. But then on the long run, if you can reuse them and if you can scale the program up, then it's cheaper. Yeah. So it's easier, of course, to take a large target group in an online program than in a face-to-face program. Although we also try to keep rather small groups to maintain it interactive. So it shouldn't be just listening, it should be quite interactive.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, Rui.